Bill Belichick, Jordan Hudson story has taken an interesting turn. So I had two strong opinions on this story. I now have three. My first opinion was bit cringy. He's 70 plus, she's 24. Then I watched the CBS interview, which she stepped in front of, and like a professional said, you're not talking about our private relationship. My second opinion was, it's still age-wise a little creepy, but in college football, old Bill needs this. He just happens to be dating it too, but he needs this. Then another story came out, and skeletons are starting to be unearthed. And reporters are starting to report. There was a story in the New York Post yesterday that Jordan Hudson has amassed $8 million in real estate, multiple homes, starting at the time she started dating Bill. Who am I to pry? Another part of this story is looking back at her family, who had a fishing business that went bankrupt. Her mother, museum part, doesn't sound like the Smithsonian, but who am I to be snarky? The family's a little different. It does appear now I'll have a third opinion, which is they are both benefiting in multiple ways from each other. Whatevs. It's gone from cringy to crucial to crypto. I don't know what the hell I'm going to get tomorrow. That's why I don't invest in it. And here's the thing. She is providing a service. Take your mind out of the gutter. She is providing a service as his social media director. And she'd like to be compensated for it. That's, I think, where we are. But let's go back to the beginning and my skepticism when this happened. What was my first opinion, like the day it happened? Bill doesn't even watch much college football. I can tell from his drafts. He's terrible. Bill's an NFL guy. He's not spending Saturdays on the couch. Like his contacts, he'd call Urban Meyer or Nick Saban. What do you got for me? Herm Edwards. But I never thought of him as a college football guy. College football coaches, Nick Saban may seem grumpy. Nick Saban's funny. Nick Saban's social. Nick Saban's personal. I've been around Nick once or twice. He lights up a room. Nick is funny. He's a good storyteller. He can laugh at himself. That's not Bill. Bill's a pro football coach. And that's not a bad thing. But Bill never had this. Like Urban Meyer, to me, has always been a college football coach. Urban Meyer told me years ago. I love Urban. He's a friend. He told me years ago, I don't watch pro football on Sunday. I watch Ohio State game tape. Like Urban took the job, made his money. He was always a college football coach. The NFL thing didn't fit. Bill was always an NFL coach. Then he brings Mike Lombardi, who I know. He brought him over. Lombardi's an NFL guy. And I said this when it happened. I said, you think Bill Belichick had no patience for Robert Kraft? He had no patience for NFL owners. You think he's going to sit around and have an SID run the show, or an athletic director, or some goofy donor, or that this was always an uneven relationship. The minute UNC gave him $10 million a year to a guy who'd never coached college football. Yeah, his dad coached at Navy, but he never showed any great inclination for it. In fact, the only reason this thing makes sense is because of NIL, where Bill can now buy players and doesn't have to hop in a jet every 15 minutes and recruit guys.
Okay. So let's talk about this. I want to talk about this from a few different directions. I had been avoiding this story because talking about people's personal lives like this makes me a little uncomfortable. And you saw Nick, right, actually on Colin, and when he was, when they have their Tuesday like little interview session that they do on the Herd, he talked about it there, and you could see him kind of justify talking about it, and then he also talked about it a bunch of times on First Things First. And I think he actually did a pretty decent job of justifying it, kind of being like, usually personal stuff like this is he kind of doesn't, he feels uncomfortable touching as well. But since Bill is so, out in the open with his relationship, it kind of feels fair game. And also Bill Belichick, his entire brand has been one way, and now it's just like the opposite. So it's kind of like, well, this is something that kind of needs to be discussed. And I kind of want to open up the door to kind of look at this through a few different ways, to kind of be like, where do you think that line is though? Like, is it fair game to talk about Bill Belichick's personal life in that regard. Like, it is a weird situation. And I'll just kind of keep using Nick as an example, or even Colin as an example. They both have wives, children, etc., etc. Like, I'm never going to touch that, right? Like, I'm never going to talk about that. Like, Colin, he's openly talked about going through a divorce, and Nick has, I believe he has like a couple stepchildren and stuff, like, because of who he married, and like, there's like never any reason to ever unpack that, like, ever. LeBron James could be going through a divorce. Tom Brady obviously went through a divorce, and like, it's just like never relevant to me to talk about. Now, what makes this story so extra interesting is obviously someone's 70, someone's 24, and you have like, it feels like some people in the media are in the know of like what's going on here, and other people are like, love is love. And like Nick, I think, also brought up a good point as well too, before he was like kind of saying like, we've become more like acceptable as a society and all that, and like, but like this feels different, and it does. This is very much, like this is very much for anyone who's ever lived out west, like I have, like, go to LA, go to Rodeo Drive. You see a lot of older men, very rich older men, like older men with, women who are like young, just not as old as them, okay? And and everyone's providing services and to each other and all this, but like it is a bizarre thing, but at the same time, like, you just don't have all the information. And the reason why I'm like more willing to talk about it is because of moments like this. Like, that's her. She's kind of blending in with the blue right now. Bill's in the middle, and it's like a practice, and I don't know exactly what's going on for this practice. Like, I don't know exactly what they're doing at this time, or when this was officially taken. So I'm not sure, but it's still some sort of obvious football event. She's like strutting in like heels and like a flowy skirt and like a jacket, and it's just like that's when it becomes a thing to me. Because if he was just dating this woman and like all their stuff was going on and all that, like, they're doing what they're doing off to the side. Even if he's posting Instagram posts and stuff like that, it's like, whatever, man, I don't care. Go do your whatever. But like, when you're like on the football field and you're getting involved in that way, like, that's when I'm just kind of like I'm very, I have a hard line like that. On one side, I love that Steph Curry brought his children at that interview. Like, it was so cute, and his kids are so cute, and it was really cool. But on the other side, I'm kind of like, don't do that. Like, you're a professional, you're a man, you're playing in the finals or, playoffs, whatever it may be. Like, it's not time to be there with your kids. And he even said he regretted it, mainly because I think they kind of got more attention than he thought. But like Nick Sirianni did that. He would bring his kids to the press conference, and it's like, bro, don't do that. Like, it's Sunday. You just played a football game. And so if you're like, don't do that. That's not what this is here. We're not here for that. We're not. This isn't, like as Tom Brady said, it's like, we're not here to be in Disney. We're not going to a trip to Disneyland here. Like be a pro, right? And like, sometimes these moments can be cute, especially if you're talking about little kids, stuff like that. So it's like, I get it, and like, I love kids, so it's just like I get it, and it's always cute when athletes win, especially when they win a championship or whatever, and they have their kids, and they're all the time like Saquon Barkley's kids were like the most adorable when his daughter was like, "Daddy, we did it," or "You did it," like whatever it was, and she's wearing like a little Eagles hat. Like, it was the most adorable thing ever. And when she left him his voicemail, like, I love all that stuff. It's so cute. But like, there still is, to a degree, a time and a place for all of it. And after you win the Super Bowl, like, that's the place. That's totally the place. But like, on a random work day, when it's time to get to work, and you can see them, it looks like they're wearing pads, and it looks like, again, it's hard to see, but like some, the Guardian caps on. So like, they're doing something there. Like, no girlfriends, no wives, no one else there. Like, what are we doing here? Like, no one should be there in that moment. And so like, that's the stuff where I'm just like, what is this? And I would be annoyed even as a player. Even if I'm like 19, 20 years old, I'm like, that's Bill Belichick. I would still have enough of a frame of like a peace of mind to be kind of like, what is this? Because a lot of those guys are like, I want to go to the pros. I want to go to the NFL. Like, Bill, like, get me there. Like, that's why I'm here. Like, get me there. And like, I don't want to see this nonsense. And again, you can see the type of person she is, her energy that she brings, just the outfits that she's wearing. And again, like, to each their own. Like, I'm not even like judging Bill to judge that. And like, maybe they like it for different reasons. Like, I have no idea. And like, I don't even really care to unpack it. I really don't. I haven't thought about this story at all. But like, everyone keeps talking about it. And I kind of, like I said in my Shador Sanders video, where I'm like, sometimes I skip stories because I'm just like, this doesn't seem relevant, or like, is this an actual real story? And so, but I realized like, well, if you guys want it, well then like, I'll do it. But like, I don't want to sit here and unpack and even, dig into Bill Belichick's personal life, because like, I don't care. I always talk about this, like the whole kind of shut up and dribble, like sometimes it's used as like a negative, but like I'm like, yeah, just shut up and dribble, like, because like, we're just here for ball, man. Like, that's what we're here for. I don't need to know some of your opinions. If I want to, then I will pursue that on some podcast or something. I'll read your autobiography. Like, I don't know. But otherwise, like, I'm just here for sports. And I know a lot of you guys are here for sports, which is why I never cover anything beyond sports on here, ever. Unless like it's something that has completely infiltrated sports, where you're just like, well, this has to be discussed. How could it not be? But otherwise, like, this is a bubble. This is a sports bubble. And once we start talking about, like, is it weird that Bill Belichick is dating someone younger? It's like, I don't know. Yes, no, maybe so. Talk about it on a completely different thing. Like, this isn't a lifestyle, podcast, YouTube channel, whatever. Like, we're here to talk about ball. And so the reason why I'm like, kind of like, let me bring this up, because one, I feel like there's an interesting question to ask, where it's just like, where do you think that line is? Where is that line for you? And so I'm just curious of your guys' opinion. I have a handful of questions for y'all that I really want to know, truly. One, how much do you care about this story, honestly, truly? Like, is this entertainment for you still? Are you still kind of like secretly kind of like, yeah, it's kind of funny, or I'm kind of interested, or are you kind of like, I don't care, man. Like, I want to talk about real stuff. Like, definitely curious. Where's the line for talking about personal stuff, personal lives and relationships and all of that? And I guess those were probably the couple main ones. Oh, and do you want me to kind of cover this type of stuff? And again, to be very clear, I'm never covering deep personal lives or anything. Like, never. There's a couple sports YouTube channels that I watch, stuff like that, and they're always like, sometimes they're covering sports, and sometimes you guys know what's going on in the sports world right now. There's a lot of stuff going on in the sports world, which again, please don't even mention the comment section. But like, if you've noticed, like, I haven't touched any of it because it's not my place. Like, I'm here to talk about ball. Like, I'm here to talk about that. Like, I'm not here to talk about the other stuff. Like, it's not what any of this stuff is for. And so like, I purposely completely stayed away from it. And quite frankly, like, I don't even care to pay attention to it, yet, until like everything has been confirmed and all the answers are there. Otherwise, like, it's like, leave me out of it, man. Leave me out of it. But like, it is weird because now there is that kind of bridge when I see her on the field strutting in heels, in a big boots and heels and a flowing skirt. She's like walking up to Bill as Bill's like kind of running a practice. And I'm just kind of like, what the heck is that? If I try to go back in time and think of any of the coaches that I've had over the years, and I've had coaches like Bill Belichick-esque, right? Obviously nowhere near his level, but like that kind of personality, that kind of intensity and seriousness, and it's all business. And if I'm thinking that I had a couple of those coaches where they suddenly had some, woman just on the field, around, it would be bizarre. It really would be. We would all be talking about it. We'd all be in some drill line talking and be like, oh, you see, so-and-so's coach, like, dude, like, where do you think they met? Or like, did you see the interview? Like, we'd be talking about it because we're still boys. We're still talking about it. We're going to be in the locker room. We're going to be in the field. We're running drills. Like, it is a distraction. It is weird. And so, like, I do think that that's okay to say out loud. If she never entered the arena of his professional life and he was just dating her and they're going to like Paris and taking pictures, it's like, by all means, go do that. Go on your bike ride. Do whatever you want. That's all fine. Like, I don't care. But once she's on the field where men are literally wearing their pads, they're running practices, etc., even if it's just for pictures, even if it's just like, they're just because they're not actually having a real practice and it's just a photo op or whatever, they're making a calendar. I don't care. It's still an actual event for the players, for the team, etc. So it's just like, you want me to bring my dog? Oh, I have a cat at home. I'll bring my cat. And I got 2 dogs. I'll bring the dog, like, okay. And I'll bring my children. I'll bring my wife. I'll bring my aunt, my uncle, my grandma. It's like, because at that point, it's like, just bring everyone, man. Bring everyone. It's just weird to me. So, yeah, like I said, I was skipping this story for a while. And then I figured, all right, if I can try to take this from a different angle, I'm curious what everyone else's thought process behind this. But And the fact that this keeps coming up, but I personally don't like to, talk about this type of stuff or cover this. And if this was during the season and it wasn't the off season, I would 100%. I don't even care. Like, I'm just like, I'm not even touching this. I don't care. I'm making a Lions video. They just lost on Sunday. Let's talk about that. But since we are, it's May and there's not a lot going on, it's like, let's talk about Bill Belichick's false narrative. What do you make of Bill's new relationship? What do I make of it? I don't care. That's what I make of it. None of this stuff matters to me. Does it matter to you? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment. So whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions, let's get in some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.